Hi, I'm Daz. Another parcel in the post, and I've bought yet another radio kit. I should stop this. I've got far too much stuff. Let's have a look at this one and see if I can get into it without damaging it. Oh, come on. See what we've got here. Wow, this one's bigger than I thought. Oh wow, that is a nice size radio, that one is. Yeah, I've always seen this yellow one and wondered what this one would be like. This is an AM FM radio kit. And that is physically a lot bigger. No wonder it wouldn't go through the letterbox. So, yeah, let's see what we've got in here. Very nice. The speaker's been wrapped up in some of the instructions. Bag of components. This one's an AM FM radio kit. So look, there's a tuning scale. Well, that looks different to what I thought I was getting. I thought I was getting an AM FM radio kit, but obviously not. That looks like shortwave. Let me have a look. Okay, yeah, it's a bit different to what I thought I was getting. Right. I definitely did order an FM kit, and this is not what it appears to be. It's a medium wave shortwave kit, which is not what I ordered at all. So the funds of ordering from online auction sites, eh? Well, a few months later, after the last radio kit I got, let's just see if I've been lucky enough to get what I want this time. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Is it the right one? Have a look. No. Oh, my goodness. Well, fate dictates I'm going to build a AM shortwave receiver, so that's what I'm going to do. I've just laid all the parts up out on the this piece of paper. There's quite a lot of cores. Some of them are oscillator, some are aerial input, some are IF, the looks of it. Some might be for demodulation. The demodulation I haven't figured out yet. I've got to look at the data sheet for the chip. Quite thumbed it out yet. A lot of metal work. Those must be for the speaker. That looks like the ferrite rod goes underneath the capacitor. That looks like the mounting, the ferrite rod windings. There's a wave change switch, on off switch, your dials, some sort of support. Obviously goes to hold something on. Noticed that a couple of the ceramics have not got markings on, or I can't hardly read them, so I'll just have to measure those. Not many resistors at all, and just for electrolytics, obviously these will need to be connected the right way round, but the board is marked positive, so that shouldn't be too hard. IC socket as well, which is handy. So that's the kit. The paperwork side of things, I've blown it up and I've tried to work out the colours for the cores. This little bit here with the Chinese colours on helped with that. I did try using Google Translate, but it doesn't like reading the lettering against the background of tracks, but I think that's the right combination. I'll soon find out if I can't tune it. Well, that was a bit of fun. We had 2 capacitors missing out of my kit, which I had to hunt for. But most of the components are on there. At the moment, I'm just trying to figure out this volume control, because if I push it right down, it seems as though it's too high for the case. Other thing I've got to figure out is this variable capacitor, which way round it goes, because I wonder if it's the same capacitance both sides or whether there's less. So I shall, that's the shortwave side if I remember rightly, it's the medium wave side, quite easy to tell. I didn't notice, but the actual silk screened on where the ferrite rod connects, so that's good. But yeah, I need to have a look at this, where this volume control sits. Hopefully all the inductors are in the right place, and that'll mean I can actually tune it. So yeah, I'll get on and measure this. I think there's 2 connections there. Now, why is that? Do they both need to be connected? I don't know. But anyway, that's the first thing to do, is to test this capacitor, see what we get. Guessing that's ground in the middle. See what we get. 150 picofarad. What is it the other end? $19, so yeah, test that again. 151 on that side. Right, I'll include both these connections. Let's see what, so that's maximum capacitance. Let's see what we've got on this side. 1.8, really? Let's try that again. Oh, 38, that's more like it. Let's try that one. $37. Okay, so that's the higher capacitance side. I guess. See what that side is. I wonder if it's different. Yeah, okay, so that's definitely probably the medium wave side, I guess, and that's probably going to be used to the shortwave. Well, I think that's going to be right. I've noticed that these 2 are electrically connected together, so perhaps there's 2 connections to reduce inductance, because I bet this is really an FM tuning gang. So I guess it'll go in that way. I've got my facts right. So I've traced these, CA and CB to be shortwave. So that should be correct, hopefully. Well, I'm making the assumption that the ferrite rod is there. I can't see how it can be under the board, so that's gone under the capacitor. Looks like I've got a bit of plastic to remove there. I've used the very smallest screws. There's another set that fits, but if you use them you're going to go right through the capacitor, which wouldn't be great, would it? It would be a bit of a shame, that. So yes, I've just been trying to identify what screw goes into what before I insert anything. What some of these screws for are slightly puzzling, but I'm sure they'll become clear with time. Well, after a bit of fiddling, I seem to have got the pot in the right position here. It seems to be okay, flush against the board. What I found was I had a bit bad moulding. Tuning's a little close. I have notes on that as well. I haven't soldered anything yet, but that's very close to the IC socket. You do need to do some trimming around where this knob runs, because if you don't, it'll catch. So a little bit of snipping back of the IF transformers. Well, they've been thoughtful enough to use different colour wire for the small transformer winding and the main tuning winding, so it's quite easy to identify them. Well, it's way past my bedtime, but I thought, oh yeah, let's power it up, see if anything happens at all. Well, some noise. Let's turn the fluorescent light off. Well, having a further look at things, I would say that I am now on AM, which is that way. I keep forgetting the drawing's the opposite way around. The oscillator tuning is definitely doing something, but I am receiving no stations whatsoever. So either the local oscillator is running at the wrong frequency, or I've put the wrong core in the wrong place, or something spectacular like that. But I think I'll leave that for tonight and come back to it fresh in the morning. So, a new day. Let's have a look at this. Lots of sensitivity. So what could the problem be? Local oscillator wrong frequency. This ferret's not tuning the incoming frequency correct. IFs are out. Could even be that the ferret rod is open circuit. Lots of things to think about there. But yeah, so I could put this capacitor in back to front. It may not be right. Interesting, you know, the older radios always seem to be like 365 puff, 500 puff capacitors, but these kits tend to be round about 200 puff. So obviously making up for it by having a little bit more inductance. Local oscillator is interesting on this. There's only one connection to the chip. It's sort of instead of two connections where you got an incoming signal and a feedback, it's just one connection to the tune circuit, and that's it. So I'll have to think what to try next. I think that's a good indication that the ferret rod is tuning, because it seems to be tuning interference into there. The set is not on, it's just the passive coupling of the ferret rods. Right, well, I'm looking at the local oscillator and I can just about see it against the lights. 2.68 megahertz. And interestingly, the capacitor's having no effect. Oh, that's strange. So I wonder why that is. Right, let's try on shortwave. Oh, here we go. 1488. And it is tuning. Yes. So, for some reason, the local oscillator is not tuning on AM. Now, have I got a bad joint or something? Or an incorrect capacitor or something? Now, the one that couples between the tuning capacitor and the tuning coil is the one that I think I substituted, the 121, although on the diagram it says 141, so that's interesting. So why is my local oscillator not working on AM, not tuning? Very, very strange. Oh, it's auto ranging, that's good. Yeah, it should be a nice big tuning range and there's just nothing going on. I wonder if I get a tool and have a fiddle with the inductor itself. It's this one here. Yes, it's changing. Okay, so for some reason the tuning capacitor's not connected to the tuning coil, so it must. Well, I'm just tracing everything back. That's the one side of the red tuning transformer coil, whatever you want to call it, 0.27. This is the side with the tuning capacitor on, and it's open circuit. So what the problem is that the inductor for the local oscillator has got one side of the transformer open circuit. That's Very bad news, indeed. So that's got to come out, and I've got to try and work out what's wrong. So I'll just show you that on the circuit diagram. So that's this part here. This side is open circuit, so there's no way I'm going to be tuning the local oscillator, hence why it's not working. Right, by luck obviously I've got a second one. Long story. Okay, so that's 372 microhenries. And the other side is very low, 2.6. Okay, at least I know what I'm looking for now. Well, I've just pinched one out of a red radio kit, 352, so that's very similar. On the other side, .4. Well, obviously it could be the inductor screwed in slightly more or slightly less, so I could either use the one from the other kit or pinch one from the red radio kit, and they're not that expensive, and I bet you can get these online anyway. Right, let's try again. Good, so we now have operational medium wave. So, well, next step I'm going to do is do an IF alignment. I've just coupled it in near the ferrite rod, I'm sure that'll do. And I'm just going to adjust for maximum smoke, and it'll probably be these two. Now I've got the modulation back on my generator. Oh yeah. Sometimes you need to just tune this so you're not getting any heterodyning. Okay, I've just temporarily knocked it together with the relevant screws. I think that's right. And just put one of the speaker screws in. Anyway, I now got a tuning scale so I can see what I'm doing. Now with this medium wave I'm going to pick 600 kilohertz to adjust the oscillator and the ferrite rod, and I'll probably use 1400 to alter the tuning capacitor for the ferrite rod and also for the local oscillator, and then if I can get these two accurate then I'll be fairly happy. So it is receiving at the moment. I haven't got to the shortwave yet, but the shortwave appears to go from 15 megahertz to 16.5 megahertz on this one. Okay, so I've tuned the oscillator, the signal generator oscillator, to 600 kilohertz. So I'm going to adjust this red trimmer to find the signal. Well, there's the 600. And the next thing I'm going to do is adjust this ferrite rod to get the best signal. Right, now I'm going to pop up to 1400 and adjust the local oscillator trimmer to get it to receive on 1400, and then adjust the aerial trimmer for the best signal. Then I'm probably going to have to repeat the trimming of this and this again, and probably do it several times. That's quite unmeshed. Right, now the aerial trimmer. No peak. Okay, Now I'll have to go back to 600 kilohertz and set that up again, and then do this top bit of part. Well, I think I'll have a go at shortwave next. That's the shortwave aerial coupler. That's the shortwave oscillator. That's the shortwave oscillator trimmer. And there's the aerial trimmer. So I think, looking at the marks I've got, I may well trim the top ones at 16.25 megs and the bottom ones at 15.25. I've attached the aerial because, well, that is part of the tuned circuit, so it'd be best for that to be on and extended. So I'll get on with that and see if we can tune it in. But I'm gonna use the aerial, I think, as a wire aerial, because this is picking up an electrical signal. So I've just been starting to set this up and not getting very far, and I've just realised why. Because this has only got a 455 kilohertz IF in it, which is very low. 16 megs is a bit high to have an IF of this frequency. So, of course, the problem is the local oscillator is going to give me a result if it's set at 15.545 or 16.455, and it's very easy to hit either of those when you're at a frequency of 16 megs. There's enough adjustment to hit both. So my best bet is to use this shortwave receiver to listen out for the local oscillator. Indeed, one of my viewers reminded me of this when I was setting up the Murphy A46. So anyway, I've dusted off my receiver and put 2 new rechargeables in it, and I'll use that. So the problem is, if you tune into that side, what's going to happen is the local oscillator will work the other way round, and this tuning scale's never going to work then in that case. So it's another little trap I nearly fell into. I think the narrow bandwidth for this makes this a little tricky. There we go. Okay, so I've been having a little fiddle to see if I can trim up the shortwave, and I've got another problem. I've tuned down at 15.25 for the inductor, which seems reasonable because it's near to the 15 megs, so right at the bottom of the band. I've unmeshed the capacitor as far as I could when it comes to the trimming, and even with that capacitor virtually unmeshed, my range isn't quite right. So I'm on 15.5, which should appear here, but it's appearing on 15.75. So what it's telling me, I think, is that the range of the tuning isn't right. There is 2 powder capacitors in series with this second capacitor, and they are 10 puff, and they are used to reduce the amount of effect that this variable capacitor has. Now, if I'd put this capacitor in the wrong way, there's no way I would have been able to trim up the medium wave, and the medium wave tracks really nicely. It's all the stations appear on the dial, so I'm a little bit puzzled with what's going on here. I'm pretty certain that it wasn't expecting the medium wave to be round the other way, as we would have had problems with trying to get the medium wave to track, and it seemed to track not too bad. So a little bit of a puzzlement that. I just pulled out the 2 10 puff powder capacitors and replaced them with 27. Now 16 megs is actually appearing at 16 megs. So is it because this was designed for a sort of dual medium wave capacitor, or what's going on here? I don't know, but anyway, at least it's tracking now. So let's try 16.25. Yes, there we go. Put my big head in the way. Yeah, 1625's now in the right place. Now, that's interesting, isn't it? Well, there doesn't seem to be much adjustment on the aerial trimmer. I can hear it get better if I mesh it a bit more, and the oscillator is very sensitive indeed. But anyway, that's 1625 I've just trimmed it at. Well, I guess the things to do now are to just tidy up this bracket somehow, and the other problem is because of the moulding fault here, this battery terminal will not stay in, so we'll fix that with a bit of epoxy resin, I think. And yeah, so I think we're doing quite well really to rescue this. But, right, well, I've put the battery connectors in the right way this time now, and I didn't realise it took D cells, so this is going to run for an awful long time. So yeah, a long time I should think. What else? Got to find what I did with the bit to screws in there. Oh, it's already in there, right. So anyway, that's about it, I think, what I'm going to do with this radio. I've got bored with it now. As I've got two of these kits, I looked at building this other one, and I made an interesting discovery. Even though all the capacitors are here, I've got a duplicate on an IF core, and I'm missing the shortwave oscillator core, so that's not good. And secondly, this variable capacitor, the nut is not threaded properly, and this terminal here is completely loose, so I think I'll leave that one for the time being. Perhaps I'll search for some replacement capacitors, etc., and come back to it another time.
Self-isolate. Down it. Simon says.
I got a bad capacitor at the bottom. Anything on shortwave? I doubt it, but I'll try. Well, that's another one built. That wasn't too easy with the problems with the oscillator coil being open circuit, a few other little bits and pieces having problems with, but it works now. I got it to work. I've been building a few kits just between repairs, just to see how I get on and see how modern kits are. It's just a bit of fun and a bit of a challenge really. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you found that interesting, and I'll see you soon.